It's me, Cassie B. Back again, hopefully for the last time today, to read Immanuel Kant's The Critique of the Power of Judgment, Cambridge edition, third movement, part 17. But yeah, pretty much. Let's get this shit done. I'm trying to multitask like a badass, but all of my devices are just completely full of what I do not know, probably pictures of me. Like, in all likelihood, it's way too more pictures of me. More than that. Because I like me. And you do too. So, without further ado, I'm going to just continue to be picky until I put myself to sleep. 17, page 116. On the ideal of beauty. There can be no objective rule of taste that would determine what is beautiful through concepts. For every judgment from the source is aesthetic, i.e., the determining ground is the feeling of the subjective and not a concept of an object. To seek the principle of taste that would provide the universal criteria for the beautiful through the determinate concept is a fruitless undertaking because it is sought. What is sought is an impossible and intrinsically self-contradictory. What is sought is impossible and intrinsically self-contradictory. The universal communicability of the sensation of satisfaction and dissatisfaction, and indeed one that occurs without concepts, the uncanny insofar as possible of all times and Yep. Get comfy. Of all times and peoples about this feeling, the representation of certain objects, although weak and hardly sufficient for conjecture, this is the empirical criterion of the derivation of a taste, confirmed by examples from the common ground deeply buried in all human beings, of unanimity in the judging of forms under which objects are given to them. Hence, some producers of taste are regularly as exemplarily not as if taste could be acquitted by intimidating others, for taste must be a faculty of one's own. However, whoever imitates a model certainty shows, so far as he gets it right, a skill, but he knows taste only in as far as he can judge his model himself. From this, however, it follows that the highest model of archetype of taste is mere idea, which everyone must produce himself, in accordance with which he must judge everything that is an object of taste, or that is example of judging through taste, even the taste of everyone. Ideas signify, strictly speaking, a concept of reason. The idea of representation of an individual being is adequate to an idea. Hence the archetype of taste, which indeed rests on reason's intermediate idea of a maxim, that cannot be represented through concepts, but only in an individual precipitation, would better be called the ideal of the beautiful. Sometimes that we strive to produce in ourselves, even if we are not in possession of it, but it will be merely an idea of the imagination, precisely because it does not rest upon concepts, but upon presentation. The faculty of presentation is the imagination. Now, how do we attain such an ideal of beauty, a priori or empirically? Likewise, what species of beauty admits of an ideal? First, it should be noted that the beauty for which an idea is to be sought must not be vague beauty, but must be beauty fixed by a concept of objective purposiveness. Consequently, it must belong to the object of entirely pure judgment of taste, but rather one of the partly intellectualized judgment of taste, i.e., in whatever kind of grounds for judging an ideal is supposed to occur at its basis, there must lie some idea of reason in accordance with the determining concepts, which determines a priori the end of which the internal possibility of the object resists. An idea of beautiful flowers, of beautiful furnishings, of beautiful view cannot be conceived. However, an idea of beauty adhering to the determining end, e.g., of beautiful residence, a beautiful tree, a beautiful garden, etc., is also incapable of being represented, presumably because the ends are not adequately determined and fixed by their concept, and consequently the purposiveness is almost as free as in the case of vague beauty. Only that which has the end of its existence in itself, the human being, who determines its end himself through reason or where he must derive them from an external precipitation, can nevertheless compare to essential and universal ends and in that case also aesthetically judge their agreement with them. This human being alone is capable of an ideal of beauty, just as the human being alone is capable This human being alone is capable of the ideal beauty, just as the humanity in his person and intelligence is alone among the objects in the world capable of the idea of perfection. But there are two elements involved here. First, the aesthetic normal. Dun, dun, dun. Oh my god, 2 more pages. The normal ideal, which is an individual intuition of the imagination that represents the standard for judging it as a thing belonging to a particular species or animal. Second, the idea of reason, which makes it the ends of humanity insofar as they cannot be sensibly represented into the principle for judging of its figure, through which their effects and appearance of form are revealed. The normal idea must take its elements from the figure of an animal, particular species, for an experience, but the greatest purposiveness of the construction of the figure, which would be suitable in a universal standard for the aesthetic judging of any individual of his species, the image of which has, it were, intentionally grounded the technician of nature, to which only the species as a whole, but not only any separate individual, is adequate, lies merely in the idea of one who does the judging, which, however, with its proportions can be represented fully and in concreto as an aesthetic ideal in a model image. In order to make it somewhat apprehensible, this now happens from who can entirely unlock its secret from nature. We shall attempt a psychological explanation. It should be noted that the imagination does not only know how to recall for us occasional signs of concepts, even after a long time, in a way that entirely incomprehensible to us, is known how to reproduce the image and shape of an object out of an immense number of objects of different kinds, or even one of the same kind. Indeed, when the mind is set on making comparisons, even knows how, by all accounts, actually, if not consciously, as it were, superimposed one image on another, and by means of the congruence of several of the same kind to arrive at a mean that can serve them all in a common measure. Someone has seen 1,000 grown men. Now, if he would judge what should be estimated at their comparatively normal size, in my opinion, the imagination allows a great number of images, perhaps all thousand, to be superimposed on another, and if I may here apply the analogy of optical representation in the space where the greatest number of them coincide, and with the outline of the place that is illuminated by the most concrete colors, the average size becomes recognizable, in which both height and breadth equidistant from the most extreme boundaries of the largest and the smallest statures, and this is the stature for a beautiful man. One could get the same result mechanically if measured all 1,000 men and added up their heights and width and girths, and then divided the sum by 1,000. But the imagination does this by means of a dynamic effect which arises from the repetition and apprehension of such figures of the organ of their inner sense. Now, of similar way, there is sought for this average man, an average head, an average nose, etc., then this shape is for the bias of the normal idea of the beautiful man, the country where his comparison is made. Hence, under these empirical conditions, a Negro must necessarily have a different normal idea of the beauty of figure than that of a Chinese person, or different from European. It will be exactly the same with a model of a beautiful horse or dog of a certain breed. The normal idea is not derived from the proportions taken from experience as determinate rules, rather in accordance with it that rules for judging first become possible. It is the image for the whole species, hovering among all the particular various striving intuitions of the individuals, which nature uses as archetypes underlying her productions in the same species, but does not seem to have fully achieved in any individual. It is by no means the entire archetype of beauty that this species, but only the form of constitutes an indispensable conditions of beauty, and so merely the correspondence and the presentation of the species. It is, as it was said of Polycles, the famous Doryphorus, the rule, and Myron's cow could be used in the same way as its species, for the very reason it cannot contain anything special, anything specifically characteristic, for then it would not be the normal ideal for the species. The presentation also does not please beauty because of beauty, but merely because it does not contradict any condition under which alone a thing of this species can be held beautiful. The presentation is merely academically correct. Huge footnote, but I've been ignoring all the footnotes. So, continuing on. Yet there is still a distinction between the normal idea of the beautiful and its ideal, of which the ground already introduces can be expected only by the human figure. In the latter, the idea consists of the expression of the moral, without which the object would not please universally, moreover positively, but mere negative in an academic correct presentation. The visible expression of moral ideas which inwardly govern human beings can of course be drawn only from experience, but as it were to make visible the bodily manifestations as effect of what is inward, the combinations with everything in our understanding of connection, the morality and the good, the idea of the highest purposiveness, goodness of the soul, or purity of strength, or repose, etc. This requires purity of reason and great force of imagination, united anyone who would merely judge them, let alone anyone who would present them. The correctness of such an idea of beauty is provided by the fact that no sensory charm is allowed to be mixed into the satisfaction of an object, while it is nevertheless allowed the greatest interest to be taken in it, which then provides that judging in accommodation with such standard can never be purely aesthetic, and judging in accordance with the ideal of beauty is no mere judgment of taste. Definition of the beautiful inferred from its third movement. Definition of the beautiful inferred from this third movement. Beauty is the form of purposiveness in an object insofar as perceived without representation in the end. Another huge footnote, but you know what? That's the end of my homework, and it's like something in the morning, and I'm going to look up what I can have for lunch tomorrow, because good night, goodbye. I hope you liked my Kant.